Howdy-ho, Andrew here. Welcome to the Onion Buns and welcome to Let's Talk Oilers. Oilers versus Canucks, Game 49, January 17, 2026. So unless this game is an absolute banger, this will be a short recap. As I have said before, Saturday's the worst day of the week for these recaps. I'm normally busy up until 10 or 11 p.m., then have to watch the game, then film, edit, and upload. So I'm most likely doing this at 3 to 4 a.m. So bear with me. So unless this game is an absolute banger of excitement, I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. So let's get to the hockey stuff. Pre-show. So right off the bat, we will be missing Leon until next week due to an illness in his family in Germany. I think I speak for all Oiler fans. Our wishes are with you, Leon, and your family, and hope all works out great. Be well and healthy for everyone. So with Leon missing, Knobloch has put the top six into the blender, but I think what's shocking is the one line he didn't switch up. And that's been our worst line, game in and game out. So here we go. Line one is Podkolzin, McDavid, and Hyman. Line two is Fredericks, RNH, and Kapanen. Line 3 is Howard, Rosevich, and Savoy. Line 4 is Mangiapane, Lazar, and Janmark. So right off the bat, I understand moving RNH to the second line to replace Leon. But why move Podkolzin to McDavid's line? And why put Fredericks on line 2? Personally, it would have made more sense to go Howard, McDavid, and Hyman, Podkolzin, RNH, Kapanen, Fredericks, Rosevich, and Savoy, Mangiapane, Lazar, and Janmark. Our third line has been terrible. It's too soft, too small, and even in a non-contact shinny game like we had versus the Islanders, Howard and Savoy couldn't rise up. That line needs a physical presence on it. Someone that can muck and grind and win puck battles. So these lines Knobloch put together makes no sense to me. But let's be honest, that's par for the course this season. Knobloch has his favorites, and for them, production, chemistry, competition level doesn't matter. So it is what it is, and let's see what we get. Also, today was the last day we could send Ingram back to Bakersfield without him having to go on waivers. So Ingram's here to stay and will start tonight. Well, that turned out not true. Well, he is here to stay, but he didn't start tonight. Pickard has been replaced. I can't help but wonder how Knobloch's bias and favoritism affecting the locker room chemistry behind the scenes. I'm sure that question will come to light at the end of the season. If we win, nobody's going to say boo. If we lose, there's going to be a lot of finger pointing, and I think this will be one of the fingers being pointed. Lastly, I always say there is only two teams I demand the Oilers beat: Toronto Maple Leafs and the Vancouver Canucks. So let's get the W, Oilers. Period 1. Canucks have their third or fourth string goalie in. I never even heard of this guy. Jari is in net despite Ingram being announced earlier today. Canucks massively overcovering McDavid, which will open up the ice for everyone else. 6 minutes in, and God, does this Vancouver announcing suck. Normally I'd switch the TV announcers and I'd mute the TV announcers and sync up Jack and Bob, though Bob's not much better. Homerism drives me crazy. It doesn't matter if it's our team or the opposing team. You know, it's one of the reasons why I like Jack and Louie so much is, yes, they are Oiler fans. You can hear it, but they still try to be at least a little bit neutral. Whereas Bob, he's Homerism all the way for the Oilers, and that's what the Vancouver Canuck announcers have always been for Vancouver, and it drives me insane. But as I said, I'm not watching this game until long after it's finished. So I don't have that option tonight. I have to play the recording with the Vancouver announcers. So I got to suffer through the bias homerism. Ross, Nurse, and Emerson just team up for a glorious chance. Nice save by the Canuck goalie, but was really nice three-way passing play for the chance. And that was the end of the first. Shots on goal were 9-7 for the Oilers, score 0-0. And that's when the wheels fell off for the Canucks. Oilers outshoot the Canucks in the last 2 minutes of the period, but honestly, it was rather one-sided period by the Oilers. Even though the Canucks were out shooting us for 18 minutes, only by a couple shots. So it wasn't this massive out shooting, but it was a couple shots. They were always ahead until the final 2 minutes. But even when they were ahead, watching the period, it just seemed like every chance was the Oilers. It just seemed like the ice was tilted to me. Period 2. Mangiapane did not come out for the second period. Oilers goal, 16:49, Rosevich from Lazar and Wallman. Beauty drag move by Rosevich, who beats the goalie with a backhand through the 5-hole with Lazar driving the net hard. Vancouver challenges for goalie interference. They fail. It's a good goal. Lazar was pushed into the goalie by the Canucks defender. 1-0 Oilers. Oilers power play for Vancouver's failed challenge. Mangiapane returns at 15:35, so he only missed close to 5 minutes of the second period. They never did tell us why. Canucks penalty at 14:07, high sticking. Oilers goal at 13:11, Hyman from Bouchard and McDavid. It was a lucky goal. Hyman makes limited contact on the puck, but it bounces off the Canuck defender and in the net. 2-1 Oilers. Oilers goal at 18:18, Kapanen from RNH and Emberson. RNH hits Kapanen with a breakout pass for a breakaway that Cap buries. 3-0 Oilers. This has been all Oilers. 13 minutes into the second, shots on goal are 22-13 for the Oilers. So that means Vancouver got 6 shots on net, and the Oilers got 13 minutes into the second period. Oilers goal, 5:29, Rosevich from Howard and Savoy. Howard it was a beautiful pass to the slot where Rosevich goes hard and taps it in. 4-0 Oilers. And Savoy gets the gimme secondary assist. Oilers goal at 4:52, Kapanen from Fredericks and RNH. Fredericks battles behind Vancouver's net, passes to RNH, who finds Kapanen for the top shelf goal. 5-0 Oilers. And then Oilers goal, 3:26, Podkolzin from McDavid. McDavid grabs the puck in our zone, skates the Canuck zone, drops to Podkolzin, who risks to top right corner. 6-0 Oilers. End of the second. Shots on goal are now 26-16. 6-0 is the score. Now it's just a monster period. And the route is on. When I did the pre-show, I had no clue Canucks had their 3rd or 4th string goalie in net. So the score is kind of predictable with that info. Good news is, barring third period collapse, Oilers should run 4 lines equally and not tax any players for Sunday's game versus the Blues in Edmonton. Third period, Canucks penalty at 14:04, tripping, nothing comes of it. Canucks penalty at 9:07, roughing, nothing comes of that. Oilers penalty at 16:14, Rosevich for high sticking, nothing comes of that, and that was the end of the game. Shots on goal are 35-31 for the Oilers. 6-0 is the score. Oilers win. So that was massively one-sided, and whoever's tracking shots on goal, seeing shots by the Canucks, I never saw. No way Vancouver got 31 shots on Jari. I'm sorry, it didn't happen. I think somebody fell asleep and they just imagined the shots. As I said, I didn't know the Canucks had a 3rd, 4th string goalie in the net. Apparently it was supposed to be Lankinen, their 2nd string goalie, but he came down with an illness just before the game. He was well enough to dress as the backup, but not well enough to start the game. Yeah, that sounds pretty suspect to me. It's like, if somebody is sick to the point they can't play, do you want them in the dressing room with the team? I don't think so. If he was that sick that he couldn't start, I don't see them dressing him as the backup. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that's the way I see it. How that works out, I have no clue, but guess it made sense in Canuckland. So this didn't have much hitting or anything. Oilers were clearly the better team, even without Leon. This was a complete one-sided game. Even in the first, like I said, the shots were pretty close in the first, and it still felt like the ice was tilted in the Oilers' favor. And the second and third, just no. Vancouver did not get 31 shots on net. That makes me laugh. So 3 stars. Well, obviously, number 1 is Jari. He got the shutout. Rosevich, 2 goals. And Kapanen, 2 goals. Slugs, there was no slugs. And if there was in this game, that would be a direct ticket to Bakersfield. Like that's how one-sided this game was. If you were playing bad enough to get a slug in this game, you shouldn't be on the team. But there was no slugs. As I said, short recap today. It's almost 1 a.m. and I still got to edit this. So Oilers now 24-17-8. The next game is Sunday, January 18, 2026 versus St. Louis Blues, 6 p.m. Mountain on Sportsnet. And that was the game recap. If you like this video, leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel, and a like, a subscribe, and a share does me wonders, and I do appreciate it. Takes 1 second to subscribe, costs you absolutely nothing, helps me immensely. Just hit the subscribe button on the bottom of the screen. If you're watching this on Rumble, please follow my channel. Always feel free to leave a comment. I know I'm really racing through this recap because, like I said, it's basically 1 a.m. and I still have to edit this and then upload this. If you saw something in this game that you want to talk about or you think I'm wrong in my recap, please come into the comments and let me know. Otherwise, leaving a comment really does help me with the YouTube algorithm and getting more eyes on my videos. And as always, pew 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.